Hello, this is Unit 22. It's about the body, health, and emergencies. We are starting on page 301 in the book. And actually, we're flipping right over to page 302. So there is a grammar note on page 302 talking about using different parts of the body to represent limbs. So you can see in that first picture, he's doing this, and this is to represent moving his legs. Like this is like a leg lift, because obviously when you're signing, you're not gonna lift your legs up and show that you're doing leg lifts. So a way that you can do that instead is by leg lifts. You can cross your legs, so you can use this classifier to mean legs. All right. Another one that you can use. Remember we talked about those. Like this is like a person. This is a sign for stand up or get up. You can do like knee bends like this too, so you can use legs that way as well. Alright, make sure you're going through all of these vocabulary sentences and practice sentences and all of that. There's a note on page 304 that talks about the sign for pain, which we have talked about before, so we know like hurt and pain. And I had mentioned that you can move this sign depending on where the pain is. So maybe you have a headache, maybe you have a stomach ache, maybe you have a toothache. So you can move that sign for pain to show where the pain is. All right, more vocab and practice sentences to go through. There's a cultural note on the bottom of page 306. We talked about how you can communicate with a deaf person when you're not a signer. So one way to do that is by writing notes back and forth, depending on how much English the deaf person knows, because not all deaf people are bilingual. So sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. It's a good way to start. And then they just talk about other ways that you can communicate too. But you guys don't necessarily need that, but if you want to tell your friends or your family and educate them on how they would best communicate, we learned that you don't just yell louder. you try and write notes back and forth, maybe do some gesturing if you can, but try not to be offensive. All right. Next up, page 307, there is a grammar note about the signs for never and nothing. So you can use that as like denial and as like negative. So remember the sign for never looks like this. You draw that 7, so never. So I would never take your pencil, okay? And that's it, really. Then we're on to the vocabulary. So let's talk about body. So we have body. My hands are kind of ending near my waist. Body. The sign for health is different. Health. It's the same as like strong, like healthy, feeling healthy, and then body. Then we have arm. Arm. Leg, you just kind of pat your leg, or you can spell leg. Leg. I typically spell it just because it kind of looks like the sign for dog. So leg or leg, you can tap your leg. Stomach, you take like a bent B and you tap your stomach. Stomach. This sign has another meaning as well, so it can mean your actual stomach. This is what I do for stomach, and then when I put it more to the side, it's like a gut reaction or like a gut feeling, like I just knew it in my gut, like that didn't feel right. It could mean that as well. Next up is brain or mind. Brain or mind. That's really like the sign for think too. So to clarify, when I'm interpreting, it's brain. I fingerspell brain, and then I set it up, and then I take the brain out and describe what the pieces are. Hand. Hand. So it goes non-dominant in front, dominant in front. Hands. Head. Start on your cheek up to your forehead. Head. Head. Pain or hurt, that's a repeat. Remember, you can move this to where the pain is. Heart attack. Heart attack. Heart attack. I don't know if you can hear that in this video. I'm trying to talk loud so that you can't, because like I said, my dog is attached to my hip, and if I have him in the other room while I'm making these videos. He just cries and scratches at the door. So I'm sorry if you can hear him eating his disgusting peanut butter cone. So that's really distracting, and I hope that you can ignore that. I'm sorry. All right, next up we have heart attack. Heart attack. So remember, we learned the sign for heart like this, and then when you go like this, it becomes a heart attack. Cardiac arrest. Stroke is similar, so the heart attack comes from here, and then stroke, because that happens in the brain, right? Stroke. Stroke. Well or recover. That's like becoming strong again, becoming healthy again, recovering, feeling well again, recovering. Normal. Normal. So we have like the sign for appointment, marriage. It's like that little loop-de-loop sign again. Normal. This is also the sign for nation, like the nation that we live in. Normal. Next up is ambulance. 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 It's kind of like the lights going around. Then we have breathe. So dominant hand is on top. You take a breath in and out. Breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Or I'm struggling to breathe. Next up is medication or medicine. Ironically, this is also the sign for poison. So depending on context, you're going to know what that means. Medication or poison. I've also seen it used for battery, as in the batteries that you put in the flashlight. Anyway, dizzy. Like you're feeling lightheaded, dizzy. Head cold. I have a little cold. Cold. Sore throat. So what they're doing right now is this in the book. Sore throat. I see sometimes, but I mostly see like sore throat. Sore throat. Sore throat. Sore throat. Arthritis. Also the sign for average. Depending on context, you'll know which one it is. Arthritis or average. Next up is vomit. I love this guy's face in the picture. Vomit. So we learned the sign for detest, right? Like, I hate it. I detest it. Vomit is a two-hand, and you, like, throw it up. Cough. So remember we had complain, cough. And my hand is in that C shape, cough. I've also seen cough. So cough or cough. Infection. Infection. Same as insurance. Island and interest. Infection and insurance. Right? Just when you thought that sign language couldn't get more confusing. Alright, next up, temperature or fever. So he is doing this way in the book. This is okay. This would be like a temperature. I've always seen it signed with that, like a degree almost. So I always sign it this way. Temperature. Temperature or temperature. Dead, die, death. This is a repeat. Remember, this is the dead, die, death. If somebody had passed on, we find gone. Take blood pressure and blood pressure. So I'm going to check your blood pressure. I'm going to take your blood pressure. That's a non-verb pick. Okay, it's just like that cuff that goes on the arm. Next up we have phone to or telephone. So phone and then call. I think this is another repeat too. So phone is the two taps and then the verb call. Look over or examine. So this this is more meaning like a search or like you're looking for something, and that's the picture that they're showing you in the book. If you're going to examine someone, you could look over them with your eyes. Remember, our V's are like our eyes. You could look over them like this. Or examine, you could also like analyze or examine that way. Next, like if you're talking about high and low blood pressure, this is like high as in, like I have a high fever, the cost is high, that kind of high. It's not like doing drugs kind of high. And then low, I've seen with an L, like low or low, low. Immediate, fast, or quick. So remember we had fast before, like this. Fast. The difference in this is it's a snap. Like right now. Immediately, right now. Cover. You're doing like this. You can cover something. I'm sorry, they're doing it this way. Cover. Cover. I'm trying to think of an example of using that sign. And it would be very dependent on the subject that you were covering. This would be like a dead body, maybe? Yeah, this is what I think that they're going for in this chapter because we're talking about all of this stuff. That's kind of what I think they're meaning for. That's what you would use that sign for. Next up is keep. Keep. So remember we had careful, be careful, keep, take care, loan, borrow, and supervisor. Next up is experience. Experience. 2 times. And gossip. Gossip. Heard it through the grapevine. Gossip. And that is all for Unit 22.